A very good evening and welcome to Prime TV News on the first Wednesday on the month of August. I'm Ishara now. Today, let's get started with your top stories for the day. Three more associates of Zahra nabbed. The president tours in Cambodia. The Premier says Sri Lanka needs to be made the economic hub of the region. A petition in support of abolishment of death penalty. Sushma Swaraj cremated with full state honours. And now for your stories in detail. First in local news. On an invitation extended by the government of Cambodia, President Maithripala Sirisena began his 4-day state visit to the Southeast Asian nation with the aim of further strengthening bilateral relations between Sri Lanka and Cambodia.
Upon the arrival at the Phnom Penh International Airport, President Sirisena was warmly welcomed by the Deputy Prime Minister and several other officials. During his stay, President Sirisena will have a royal audience with Norodom Sihamoni, the King of Cambodia. He will also attend a bilateral meeting with Prime Minister Hun Sen. The two countries, which are deeply connected through Buddhism, will pay special attention to expand mutual cooperation in economic, trade, tourism sectors. The Sri Lankan President and the Cambodian Prime Minister will also witness the signing of several bilateral cooperation agreements. In the evening, President Sirisena will attend the inauguration of the Buddhist Forum, organized by the Cambodian Chamber of Commerce.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says Sri Lanka should be turned as an economic hub in the region. The Premier was speaking at a function held at the oil refinery premises of Sapugaskanda. The event was organised to mark the 50th anniversary of the opening of the refinery system of Sapugaskanda. The Premier, who arrived at the Sapugaskanda premises, unveiled the statue of former Prime Minister Dudley Senanayake that has been constructed at the premises. A first-day cover and a stamp was launched to mark the anniversary. Employees who worked for the organisation were also appreciated. Addressing the gathering, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe said that based on modern technology, country's economy should be turned as an export-based economy. The Premier highlighted that new markets should be tapped by Sri Lanka. He noted that still unemployment is a significant issue in the country. The Premier pointed out that the income generation level of the people should be raised to be matched with advanced economies. He stated that trust over the political system has been lost among the general public. Mere slogans would not serve for any productive purpose. Minister Kabir Hashim also spoke in the event. He said that the previous governments did not take measures to invest in the oil refinery. Only 35% of the country's energy demand is met by the oil refinery in Sapugaskanda. He said that no investment has been made to the refinery from 1994 to 2014. If correct measures were taken by the previous administration, more than $400 million could have been saved, as the government has to rely on importation of oil. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe has expressed sorrow at the demise of former External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj, saying that her efforts to achieve regional policy objectives made a lasting impression among the Sri Lankan public. In a condolence message sent to Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he said, "I have always known Mrs. Swaraj as a true friend of Sri Lanka, a neighbour and a relative of Sri Lanka who held a pleasing personality." Premier Wickremesinghe said that Swaraj's focus on the bilateral relationship while keeping an interest on achieving regional policy objectives made a lasting impression among the Lankan public. During her tenure as the Indian Foreign Minister, the level of friendship between the two countries achieved greater heights, he said. 3 suspects who had close connections with the National Tawhid Jamaat and Jamaat-e Ibrahim have been taken into the custody by the police.
It has been revealed that the suspects had received armed training at campus run by Sahran in Nuwara and Hambantota. The raid to nab the suspects was conducted on a tip-off received by the State Intelligence Service. The arrest was made by the police squad under the supervision of the Superintendent of Police, Ampara. Accordingly, Muhammad Bawa Muhammad alias Abu Akram, Muhammad Riaz Muhammad Sajid alias Abu Salman, and Muhammad Razmin Rushdi Ahmad alias Abu al-Wakar, were arrested in the raids. In investigations, it was divulged that the culprits are residents of Polonnaruwa, Mavanella and Varakapala. The police was able to apprehend 6 more suspects connected to the National Tawhid Jamaat and Jamaate Millate Ibrahim in operations carried out recently.
The Cabinet of Ministers has granted their approval to provide compensations for damaged houses caused by flood in 2016. The Cabinet of Ministers approved the proposal presented by Prime Minister to provide 20,000 rupees allowance for 8,879 housing units as recommended by the Divisional Secretary Kolonava and to provide necessary funds to the Ministry of Public Administration, Disaster Management and Livestock Development. Meanwhile, the Cabinet approval was also granted to compensation to be paid to victims affected by the construction of Kalamatia Fisheries Harbour. The Cabinet approved the combined proposal presented by Minister of Agriculture, Livestock Development, Irrigation and Fisheries and Aquatic Resources Development and the Minister of Finance to secure funds to compensate 28 beach sign owners 5 million rupees per each who are affected by the construction of Kalamatia Fishery Harbour. The proposal to grant a deferral period for the payment of tourism development levy with respect to the institutions registered under the Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority was also approved. The Cabinet of Ministers endorsed the proposal presented by the Minister of Tourism Development, Wildlife and Christian Religious Affairs to grant 6-month deferral period from January 1st, 2019. Meanwhile, the Cabinet endorsement was also given to submission of the Gazette notification issued under the Excise Ordinance of Parliamentary approval. The Cabinet of Ministers approved the proposal presented by Minister of Finance to present the Gazette notification number 14/2019 that published in Gazette notification number 2128/30 dated June 30, 2019 for parliamentary approval. A new trilingual mixed school will be constructed in Mirigama. The Cabinet of Ministers approved the proposal presented by Minister of Education to secure funds for necessary constructions and other developments to commence the academic activities in February 2020. A special petition has been filed before the Supreme Court in support of the proposal brought by parliamentarian Bandulal Bandarigoda in Parliament to abolish death penalty. Sekra has filed the petition. A case against former Minister Basil Rajapaksa and 2 other defendants was postponed till the 14th of October. The defendants are charged of misappropriating a fund of 29 million rupees of the Divinaguma department. The Colombo High Court today suspended warrants issued to arrest chairman of the avant-garde company Nishanka Senadipati and former chairman of Ratnalanka security firm Major General Palitha Fernando today. As Nishanka Senadipati informed the courts that he is receiving treatments in a hospital in Singapore and Palitha Fernando has been remanded in connection with another case, the warrant was suspended. A SLPP member of the Nathandiya Pradeshiya Sabha, Upul Herath, was granted bail on 2 personal bonds to the tune of 500,000 rupees today. The member of the Pradeshiya Sabha has been accused of giving leadership to several mobs happened on the 13th of May in Maravilla and the vicinity. The bail was granted by the Maravilla Magistrates Court. Professor of Economics at the International University of Japan, Enes Kure, says market, state and civil society should be strengthened while securing checks and balances in Sri Lanka to achieve desired development goals. He was exclusively speaking to Prime Minister.
I would like to explain this current situation using normal framework that we talk in political economy analysis. In political economy analysis, we use the 3 stakeholders: market, state, and the civil society. So these are the 3 major components of any economy, and Sri Lanka is not exceptional to this normal trend. In Sri Lanka also we have these 3 stakeholders in our economy. So as we all know, market is the good way of organizing economic activities, but it doesn't mean that market is perfect. Markets do make failures and we call it market failures. And at the same time, when government make failures, government also not perfect in many cases, and government also have many failures. We call them government failures. When market do failures, those market failures can be corrected by government. When government make failures, government failures can be corrected by civil society. And then civil society also make failures, and when civil society make failures, government can take care of those failures. So in order to have a very balanced, smooth economy, we need to have these three stakeholders delicately balancing.
Chairman of the Elections Commission, Mahinda Deshapriya, says the possibility of holding a provincial council election before the presidential election is quite narrow. Mahinda Deshapriya was speaking at an awareness program held in Kurunegala. He further noted that the presidential election should compulsorily be held between the 15th of November and the 7th of December. The chairman said that but hopes on holding the provincial council election before the presidential election has not been dropped. He added that the decision on holding the provincial council election should be given at least within 10 days, and otherwise it will be impractical. He urged the political parties to pass an act in Parliament to hold the provincial council election even after the presidential election. Mahinda Deshapriya said that the Elections Commission does not enjoy the authority to clarify the messy situation on the provincial council election. Rather, the judiciary or the Parliament should decide. The Navy assists to apprehend persons engaged in fishing at the Colombo harbour mouth. 13 persons who engaged in illegal fishing at the Colombo harbour mouth were apprehended by the police during a Navy-Police combined operation conducted. 3 fishing craft used by them were also taken into police custody, and the suspects had been identified as the residents of Dikovita and Palyavatta areas. Further investigation of the apprehended craft and the persons are carried out by the Colombo Harbour Police. Fishing along the sea routes of ship arrival and departure to a port is a disturbance to ship movements and also a risky task. The students attached to the HNDE staged a protest today.
The students engaged in a walk from Colombo Fort to Presidential Secretariat. With the situation, a severe traffic congestion resulted in Colombo. As the students attempted to break the police barriers, the police had to tear gas to control the situation.
Sri Lankan Navy has deployed several life-saving teams in view of protecting the lives of local and foreign tourists who come to beaches in Galle area for enjoyment and to see the natural beauty. The teams have been deployed at the Jungle Beach and the Suduvella Beach in Rumasala, Galle. However, the visitors have been warned to avoid bathing at unfamiliar places and use only places marked as safe. The initiative has been implemented under the directives of Navy Commander Vice Admiral Pial de Silva. 4 people have been killed and 6 others have sustained injuries in 2 road accidents happened in Monaragala and Negombo. 2 women died in a road accident took place at the Anapalama junction in Monaragala, where a van and a small lorry collided head-on. 4 people, including 2 kids, sustained injured in the accident. The injured people were rushed to the Vallavaya hospital. Meanwhile, 2 youth have been killed in motorcycle accident in Negombo. In the accident where 2 motorbikes collided head-on, 2 19-year-old youth died. And now it's time for your Biz News. The Russian government has agreed to extend its support to improve Sri Lanka's power and energy sector. This was revealed when the Russian ambassador in Sri Lanka called on Minister Ravi Karnanayaka. It is planned to embark a range of power and energy projects, drawing attention on LNG and coal power plants. The joint venture will be implemented in a win-win strategy. The ambassador also educated the minister on the envisaged wind power plant in Sri Lanka. He also promised to give further assistance to Sri Lanka to enhance energy capacity. And that wraps up Prime News for today. You can join us again tomorrow at the same time. But till then, you can visit itanews.lk to be updated with the very latest. I'm Ishara now. Tuna, have yourself a good night.